Excellency Izhar Herzog, President of the State of Israel, Professor Uri Sivan, President of the Technion, Mr. Scott Leemaster, Chairman of the Board of Governors, Mr. Yona Lahav, Mayor of Haifa, Mr. Leon Rekanati, Chairman of the Board of the Madatech. Dear guests, good evening to you all and welcome to the Technion Board of Governors annual meeting and the celebration of the Technion 100th year. My name is Danny Raz, and I'm a Dean of the Henry and Merlin Taub Faculty of Computer Science at the Technion, and I'm really honored to be your Master of Ceremony tonight. Welcome to this historic home of the Technion, where academic life began exactly 100 years ago. In this beautiful building, the foundation was laid to a century of innovation, discovery, and excellence. Tonight, we honor that legacy and look ahead to the future the future it continues to inspire. Thank you all for being part of this special moment. I invite Professor Uri Sivan, President of the Technion, to speak. Uri, please.
Good evening, everybody. President of Israel, Mr. Yitzhak Herzog, and First Lady, Advocate Michal Herzog, thank you for honoring us with your presence on this special evening. As you may know, Section 7 of our Constitution states, the Institute, namely the Technion, shall be under the patronage of the President of the State of Israel. And this is a 100 years commandment. Mr. President, I also want to take this opportunity and thank you personally for your steadfast belief in the role of higher education in Israel and also in the Technion for the future of our state. Mayor of Haifa, Mr. Yona Lahav, Mr. Scott Leemaster, Chairman of the Board of Governors, Mr. Leon Rekanati, Chairman of the Board of the Madatech Museum. This beautiful building is now home to the Madatech Museum. Mr. Gidon Frank, Chairman of the Council, my predecessors, Professors Yitzhak Apeloy and Peretz Lavi, dear members of the Technion Board of Governors, my colleagues at the Technion Management, and my academic and administrative colleagues. And last but not least, our two alumni, Major General in Reserves, Nitsan Alon, IDF's commander of the intelligence array for locating the abducted and missing persons, and former Minister of Science and Technology, a founder of Next October, Mr. Izhar Shay. They both honor us with their presence here today, and upon them, both of them, we should shortly confer the Technion Alumni Medal as a token of our immense appreciation for their outstanding contribution to Israeli society and for being shining role models to us all. Ladies and gentlemen, so honored and moved to have you here, one and all. On this special evening, and in this special place, the historic building of the Technion, the walls echo tales of a century of remarkable history. Right in this very spot where I stand now, 36 years before the establishment of the State of Israel, as 400 years of Ottoman Empire rule over the land of Israel were nearing their end, the cornerstone was laid for the institution that played a crucial role in the return of the Jewish people to their homeland and the establishment and existence of the State of Israel. Facing me here, right there, actually, are two palm trees, planted by Albert Einstein and his wife Elsa during their historic visit to the Technion in 1923, just 1 year before we opened our doors. And here, on these very steps where we are now, on Tu B'Shvat Day, 1925, Jewish year Tafresh Pei Hei, 5685, a little over 100 years ago, the inauguration ceremony of the Technion took place. The name Technion at that time was spelled in Hebrew with the letter Taf, rather than with the Tet we use today, as the Taf was proposed at that time by poet Chaim Nachman Bialik, and it changed to Tet only years later. The ceremony, that historic ceremony, was attended by Sir Alfred Mond, Lord Melchett, who actually served as the first honorary president of the Technion. It was attended by Menachem Usishkin, a Zionist movement leader. It was attended also by Arthur Bloch, who was the first director of the Technion, and Max Hecker, his successor. And upon entering this unique building, if you just walk through the door behind me, you will see a hall combining splendor with simplicity, East and West architectures. And you can practically hear the footsteps of generations of students and teachers dashing up and down the staircases. And among them, I hear my parents, who were sent by their Zionist parents to study here in 1936, when Europe was closing to Jewish students. They lived right there on the right, on nearby streets named after Lord Melchett and Shmuel Pevner, administrative manager of the Technion. And from here, when I stand before you now, from these stairs, I can actually imagine them today in the audience, youngsters of 18, as they show in grayscale photos from that time, looking at me and the event in amazement. So for me, in addition to Technion celebration, it's also a personal instance of coming full circle in a family saga which began here almost 90 years ago with 2 immigrants. David Ben-Gurion, our first prime minister, used to say that in the state of Israel, to be realistic, one must believe in miracles. The very fact we are standing here today proves that claim. We have come a long way since that humble beginning of 17 students in a single building, all the way to becoming a leading research university positioned at the international forefront with Nobel laureates and campuses in the US, in China, and 100,000 alumni that shaped Israel and impacted the world. And all these accomplishments in just a century, under extremely challenging circumstances. Or perhaps, and this is what I believe in, these very needs, hardships, and constraints, similar to those we experienced in the past few years, were those that gave birth to this miracle. There is no better place to celebrate the Technion centennial than right here in this plaza, but nor is there any other group of people with whom I would prefer to celebrate this special anniversary. With you, men and women, who each in your own way have contributed to shaping the Technion. For what is a university if not the sum total of all the people who touched it and left their unique mark upon it? We are all links in a long chain beginning at the Fifth Zionist Congress in Basel in 1901, during which the vision of establishing a technological institution of higher education in this part of the world, half a century before the State of Israel, was first presented. And one can only imagine this chain's continuation. None of us was present at the Technion's inauguration, but I'm confident that this event tonight will stay with us, with each of us, for years to come. We will all remember that we were here in this place celebrating our centennial. Notwithstanding the joy of today's celebration, I cannot conclude without mentioning those among us who paid the ultimate price on and since October 7th, and our 55 brothers and sisters still kept in the tunnels of Gaza. From here, on this unique day, I call upon the government of Israel, on behalf of us all, to do everything, yes, everything in their power, to free all the hostages now, while their lives can still... While their lives can still be saved. Where they are, living in hell, the hostages have no time, and their lives are hanging by a thread. Their families suffering in their torturous abyss have no time, nor does Israeli society. This is the time for a brave decision to begin healing, to begin our fight for true revival, tkuma amitit. Without compassion and solidarity, we cannot have revival, nor can we begin healing. From here, let's also pray together for the safe return of our brave men and women from the front back to their homes and families. Thank you all for being here today. And I would like to invite His Excellency, President Yitzhak Herzog, to speak to us. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear President of the Technion, Professor Uri Sivan. I'd like to say thanks to Chairman of the Board of Governors, Mr. Scott Leemaster, Mayor of Haifa, my good friend Yona Yahav, Chairman of the Board of Madatech, Mr. Leon Rekanati, Head of the Executive Council, Mr. Gideon Frank, General Nitsan Alon, Mr. Izhar Shay, honored laureates, and ladies and gentlemen, and Michal and I apologize that upon the completion of my speech, we are going back to Jerusalem because of a very busy schedule, but thank you for your kind hospitality. And we are delighted to be here with all of you tonight at the magnificent milestones in our nation's history. 100 years since this great institution, the Technion, first opened its doors. This moment is a foundational moment for the Technion, and is also a foundational moment for Zionism. Because what we celebrate here today, the audacious spirit of Zionist dreamers, is not just the story of this singular institution, it is a story of the reclamation of the moral weight and voice and of the heart and soul of a nation. It is a story that holds every relevance for us today. In this remarkable tale of the Technion, which was at that time a tiny institution built on the hopes of an audacious few, on the distant edge of the British Empire, and became a shining emblem of science and its breakthroughs, of global innovation and success. Who would have believed that 100 years ago? Mazal Tov, the Technion. From 17 students in its opening class, it transformed into a vibrant center of research and learning for thousands into a symbol of academic excellence and international collaborations, into a producer of Nobel laureates, and into a magnet of the best and the brightest. In short, it transformed into the best version of who we are as a nation, and I believe it whispers still of everything we can yet become. Friends, it comes as no surprise to anyone here that we mark this milestone, and Uri mentioned it, at a very challenging moment for the State of Israel and a moment of enormous challenges for Israeli academia. We are all still living the tragic aftermath of October 7th. Our hostages are still in Gaza, leaving an open, gaping wound in the heart of our society. We cannot be whole until they are all freed. And we cannot let our voices become still until every one of them is back home. I call from this podium. I call from this podium. It can be done. It must be done. Every last one must come home immediately. The ongoing anguish of our hostages is but one of so many forms of pain that are tangible in our society since October 7th. We are still at war. So many have lost so much: spouses, children, siblings, and parents, wholeness of body and spirit. So many heroes, soldiers have sacrificed their lives. We have seen ongoing missile attacks, terror attacks from various frontiers, wounded, evacuees, reservists, and a huge psychological repercussion on our nation, and of course, bereaved families all over. This has not been happening somewhere else. It has been happening right here in Israel, in this great city, in this great campus. It has an ongoing reality for us all, for students and teachers right here at the Technion, and it is extremely painful. As we have been forced to defend our people, our principles, and in fact defend the free world from an evil ideology that threatens us from various corners, we cannot ignore for a moment the fact that anti-Semitism has come charging forward around the world, exposing the close link between Jew hatred and Israel hatred. Boycotts have targeted Israeli academic institutions and Israeli academicians, creating a painful distortion that hurts not only Israel, but simply is an insult to what is right and what is wrong in our world. I want to thank everyone here and all supporters of the Technion all around the world who have stood by us during this period with moral clarity and purpose. And I thank everyone who has stepped forward to defend Israel, to defend our civilization, and to defend the critical values that define us. This period has been a wake-up call to so many Jews throughout the world, leading scientists and academics amongst them, who recognize post-October 7th that the dormant forces of anti-Semitism can be awakened by frightening speed. I remind us that in previous chapters in our history, the ingathering of Jews from across the world to Israel fueled the Technion's enormous leap forward, and I would welcome seeing anyone who wants to join us make Aliyah and come to the Technion. Dear friends, as we have been forced to take up arms to defend ourselves, it is no secret that the fault lines that divide us internally as a nation are as pronounced as ever in our Jewish and democratic state of Israel. Real questions about what binds all of us together under a shared sense of purpose are right at the surface, demanding our attention and our intention and our willingness to speak, but also to listen and to engage in real, open, and candid dialogue with one another in order to deal with our future. This evening does not stand separate from any of this, nor from the deep questions nor from the answers we must find. It lies right at the heart of them. Debate is part of our DNA. Argument is the basis of the Talmudic thought that is at the core of our DNA. And friends, I believe in the Israelis and their ability to take democratic decisions. I stand firm in protecting and defending our democratic values and our democratic institutions and our independent judiciary. And I'm truly confident that we will be able to find our answers together, because I believe in the Israelis. Michal and I meet thousands of them a week, and we know what they are composed of. After all, we stand here tonight celebrating this magnificent institution in spite of the pain and agony and losses and missiles and debate that divides us. Because we know that for us, the choice to continue to excel, to continue to research and explore and break barriers, to continue bringing the world the best of who we are is non-negotiable. Because we know that setbacks and difficulty can become the fuel and the backdrop for growth, for reconstruction and regeneration in the spirit of what made the Technion and our country blossom and grow. Because our insistence here and now on science and on the integrity of academia is also the fight for the principles at the root of our society and our civilization, principles of humanity and tolerance, of life, liberty and democracy, of free thought and exchange of ideas. Holding fast to these principles is what promises us a path forward as a society towards the day after, as I call it, that forges a new reality for us internally and for our neighbors, including the Palestinians, towards a vision, a grand vision of regional peace and a region in a world which is at a critical crossroads. I believe it is possible, and I believe that this difficult and painful period will end, and that we will meet new horizons that point to all the promises we hold as a nation. I see it with my own eyes every day as I meet Israelis of all facets of life, and in every school community I visit, I meet the sparkling eyes and open hearts of children who are fixated by the scientific vision of changing the world and doing good. In fact, this spirit of science is not merely about knowledge and achievements. It is also a unifying force in a society brimming with diversity and differences. And it can be a driver of collaboration, prosperity, and new bold vision for our nation and our region. And this is exactly the greatest opportunity of the Technion. I wish we could showcase to the entire world what we see at the Technion. Students of every background, of different religions, nationalities, ethnicities, and perspectives conquer new frontiers of knowledge, and together, after all, diversity within the academy is not at all a looming threat, it is a valuable asset. Here at the Technion, the richness of views, positions, opinions, and backgrounds offers an antidote to intellectual stagnation. It safeguards the creative fertility that is at the basis of scientific inquiry, and it offers a great model moving forward. So, my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, there are so many people to salute and applaud here tonight as you celebrate the centennial of the Technion. I begin by joining you in saluting two great Israelis, Izhar Shay and Nitsan Alon, who are being awarded the Technion Alumni Medal tonight. Izhar Shay has done so much for Israel over years of public service and activism. He's always recognized dialogue and consensus as the key to shared life in a diverse society. And it is not surprising that he has continued to be a force of goodness in the shadow of even of the most painful loss. He and his wife Hilah and their kids turned the memory of their son Yaron Noni, who fell in battle in kibbutz Kerem Shalom on October 7th, into activism for the public good. His brilliant Next October initiative is working to create one new connection between an Israeli startup and investment capital in memory of every victim of October 7th, and this encapsulates the entire story of Israel. For decades, Major General Nitsan Alon has contributed so much to our safety and well-being and security at enormous personal risk and sacrifice. He is a great hero of Israel. Since October 7th, he has given himself over entirely to the critical battle to return our hostages, working tirelessly and without rest under enormous pressure with one supreme goal, their freedom. Both of these individuals embody the best of who we are, and I applaud them loudly, fully, and completely, and we hope and pray for their great success. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank a true leader and a very special person, the president of the Technion, Professor Uri Sivan. He definitely deserves it. Who brings a singular passion and skill, intelligence, vision, and leadership to his role. Uri, you are following in the great footsteps of those who led the Technion for a century. Be'atzlacha to you as you do so much good. I also want to thank your chairman of the Board of Governors, Mr. Scott Leemaster, for his leadership and boundless committee, and for his support of the great story of Israel. And likewise, I want to thank the chairman of the board of Madatech, Mr. Leon Rekanati, who have all been touched by his vision and his contribution to Israeli society, and for hosting us in this beautiful first building of the Technion. I want to thank the city of Haifa, a beautiful symbol of diversity and the aspiration for peace, and its great mayor, my friend Yona Yahav. And lastly, I want to thank every friend, supporter, student, teacher, staff member, and employee. They all honor this 100-year mark of the Technion and the blessing it has brought to Israel and the Jewish people and the world. Bless you all. Toda rabba and be'atzlacha to the great institution of the Technion.
Yes. So this is a token of appreciation. It's actually a very tiny chip. You can look through the magnifying glass, and the whole Hebrew Bible is engraved in it. It was very important for us to actually engrave it in stone, same way our forefather engraved in stone. And this is, it was first produced for Pope Benedictus during his historic visit to Israel. And we are honored to have you here, and we are honored to thank you.
Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen.
Distinguished guests, at this point, I would like to thank the President and the First Lady for honoring the event with their presence. Due to previous commitment, His Excellency has now departed, and we all thank them for being here. At this point, it would be a great pleasure to invite the recipients of the Alumni Medals, Technion graduate Nitsan Alon and Izhar Shay. Would you please go up? I invite Mr. Lee Master, Chairman of the Board of Governors, to speak.
Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Riccanati, honorees. It's a pleasure to be here with you tonight. I'm sure as you traveled here, you had some of the same emotions that I have had. Well, you expected to see strain and fatigue. How's this? And when we landed, we have seen those things, but we also knew that we would see strength, commitment, unity, perseverance, and we have seen those things, and we will continue to see these. I've often described the Technion as a beacon of enlightenment, which it is. It is a symbol of what the best of societies can be, but it's also, in complex systems, common to find a device which is predictive of the complex device traveling through unstable conditions and needing to remain stable. And this is the image of a gyroscope, which has also occurred to me as an analogy to the Technion. The Technion is an active instrument, staying a course, showing society how things can be done and how things will be done in the long run. Israel has faced many challenges before. Many of them have been seen with the Technion in its existence and as an example to persevere. And Israel has come through. And there has to be a sense of confidence that the endurance and commitment and work that is required will occur to make this very troublesome time a memory, a painful memory, but a memory when better times have occurred. Last year, we celebrated Amos Horez's 100th birthday, and it was a reminder that it is important when you are facing experiences like we are now to remember the good times and to celebrate them. And we are this week celebrating the centennial of the university. Every BOG includes moments of nostalgia. It is impossible not to reminisce when you consider how impactful the people of Technion have been in shaping the legacy we celebrate this week. While the Technion is always looking forward, we must reflect on our past to understand and appreciate how we got here. I hope you have seen the new documentary, Technion 10 Squared. The film makes an extraordinary case that without the Technion, there would probably be no Israel. It is a fact that a small group of visionaries defied the odds to create this hub of creativity, technological innovation, and science for Israel. And for the world, it is nothing short of miraculous. But it did not just happen because someone wished for it to happen. Instead, each and every person who has walked through the Technion's doors has made deliberate choices, commitments, and decisions to share in its collective drive for progress. In a world marked by division in many facets of our lives, we must celebrate our cohesion and sustained focus that has resulted in the incredible Technion we know and love today. The Technion Mishpocha, each individual who left their mark on the first century of Technion's history, deserves to be recognized for their contributions. Without them and without you, the Technion would not be the beacon of enlightenment it is today. It would not be the gyroscope it is today, helping this nation maintain its course toward a brighter future, even in these most challenging of times. We may remember all those who came before us, and while it is impossible to recognize exactly how we might shape the future in any given moment, we must never forget that our choices today will have a profound ripple effect on people around the world for generations to come. If I had a glass, I would raise it as a toast to Technion's first century of innovation, resilience, and progress, and to centuries to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee Master. I invite Mr. Yona Yahav, Mayor of the City of Haifa, to speak.
I'll be very short, and I would like to take the opportunity of standing here to thank the President Sivan for adopting the decision to develop this campus and to make it big, and we shall be partners of this. I promise you here from this stage that we shall help you to carry out the idea and to make it possible, and we shall do everything to help the Technion as a whole. We are very proud about the Technion, which was established 23 years before the State of Israel. There were only 5,000 Jews in the whole country, and they decided to open up an academic university. This is something outstanding, which is impossible to think about even. Thank you very much to all the founders. Thank you very much all the people who are dealing with it. Thank you very much professors and students who developed this city and who did so much for the State of Israel. Shalom.
Thank you, Mayor Yahav. I invite Mr. Leon Rekanati, Chairman of the Board of the Madatech, to speak.
Mayor Yahav, Professor Sivan, Chairman Lee Master, dear Technion family. As I look upon the photograph from 1924, I am deeply moved to stand here today on these very steps where a century ago remarkable individuals stood at the inauguration ceremony. Those visionaries chose to establish a scientific and technological academic institution here on the barren, stony slopes of Mount Carmel. Thanks to their bold decision and unwavering determination, we are privileged today to celebrate the 100th, to witness achievements that are nothing short of extraordinary. I felt a similar sense of awe and responsibility in 1985 when the Minister of Education, Yitzhak Navon, and three towering figures, Amos Chorev, Uzziah Galil, and Tzvi Dori, approached me with the idea to take on the mission of establishing a national science museum and preserving this magnificent landmark building in front of which we now all gather. We envisioned filling it with modern scientific learning facilities accessible to all, with a special emphasis on school children and youth. I accepted mission 40 years ago, driven by a deep sense of purpose and commitment. The National Museum of Science, Technology and Space, Madatech, was inaugurated by President Chaim Herzog, and ever since I have fulfilled my role with love, pride, and devotion. Over the past 4 decades, Madatech has become a magnet for millions of visitors, more than 10 million, of all ages from across the country. They have passed through the museum's gates to enjoy exhibitions, hundreds of interactive displays, lectures, and science activities. During these 40 years, over 3 million students visited its halls and laboratories, arousing their curiosity, conducting experiments, exploring and discovering the wonders of science through engaging hands-on learning experiences. Many of them will become Technion students, the best university in Israel. To our satisfaction, Madatech has become the 3rd most visited museum in Israel. Since its founding, the museum has benefited from the ongoing support of the Technion in fulfilling our shared mission to be a vital institution that stimulates scientific knowledge and curiosity. To you, our devoted supporters, and the dear Technion family, I would like to conclude this festive and emotional evening by saying, I deeply cherish the partnership between the Technion and Madatech, a partnership we are committed to nurture and advance for generations to come, a lasting source of pride for all of us. Thank you all. Enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Tonight, we are honoring 2 special individuals by awarding them the Technion Alumni Medal. One never gets used to the outstanding abilities of the Technion student, and the groundbreaking accomplishment of its alumni. The two individuals we are honoring tonight are truly exceptional. First one, born in 1965, Nitsan Alon lives in Moshav Nir Banim with his wife Mor and their 4 children. He began his distinguished military career in Sayeret Matkal after dedicating a year to youth mentorship. There he received the Chief of Staff citation for bravery and eventually became the commander of the unit. Following US studies, Alon commanded elite units and established the Intelligence Directorate Operational Division after the Second Lebanon War. In 2012, he was promoted to Major General as commander of the Central Command, later becoming head of Operation Directorate, where he led strategic efforts against Iran until retiring from the army in 2019. In civilian life, Alon served as Matrix Ltd. Chief Strategy Officer and currently manages Elements VC, focusing on climate and energy investment. After October 7th, he returned to service, as we already heard, establishing the IDF Hostage and Mission Person Command and joining the Israeli hostage negotiation team. Alon holds a degree from the Technion and has studied in Washington, D.C. I call upon General Reserve Nitsan Alon to approach the podium. Professor Sivan. So this is what it says. In recognition of your exceptional, dedicated, long contribution to the Israeli security, for your dedication in confronting complex challenges and diverse threats, for leading efforts to secure the released hostages and missing persons, and for exemplifying integrity and in action, serving as an inspirational leader and role model for the Technion graduate.
Professor Sivan, distinguished guest, receiving the Alumni Medal from the Technion, my academic home, is an especially moving moment for me. As I look back on my career in the IDF, I see the foundation of my career were laid here. The days we study here, engineering and science, became a critical component of my ability to serve my country. I served the State of Israel in various roles, but after October 7th, I found myself with a difficult and painful mission, establishing and commanding the hostages' headquarters and be part of the negotiation team for their return. This is a mission that is at the core of our pain as a nation and is of crucial importance for our future. Every day, every hour, was dedicated solely to find out the hostages' fate, to protect them as much as possible in the reality of war, and to bring our loved ones home to their families. This work requires not only high professional capabilities, but also immense mental resilience and unwavering determination. It is a mission where we do not have the luxury of giving up or falling into despair. I see this medal as a medal for everyone who has acted day and night and continues to act on their behalf. This medal honors the hostages' family, who continue to fight with endless courage and pain. I want to congratulate Izhar Shay, a role model for actions that generates hope. And I want to thank the Technion, whose spirit of innovation, excellence, and pursuit of solution has been with me even in the most difficult moments. The Technion doesn't just build engineers, it builds responsible leaders who can address national challenges. The power of life and the strength found in the Israeli society give us hope that we will be able to overcome the darkness, make ourselves worthy for the sacrifice of so many, and bring better days. Thank you all.
Thank you, General Alon. Izhar Shay. So I must say, this is out of what it says here. I'm really thrilled to be here. I'm not an alumni of the Technion. I teach here for 25 years, and these are great, great people, so please applaud them. Izhar Shay served as a Knesset member from 2019 to 2021, and Minister of Science and Technology participating in Israeli COVID-19 cabinet. Currently a venture partner at Disruptive AI. He advises tech companies and serves on investment committees for Our National and Phoenix Financial. A Technion graduate with over 30 years in entrepreneurship and venture capital. Mr. Shay led two technology companies, Business Layers and Resecure, who succeeded to exit and spent 15 years as partner in Silicon Valley-based Canaan Partners. Following the tragic loss of his son, Yaron Uri Nuni, we heard about it, who fell defending Kibbutz Kerem Shalom on October 7th, Shay co-founded the Next October initiative, which launches initiative Israeli startup in memory of war victims. He remains actively involved in initiatives promoting healing and unity in Israel's society in the aftermath of the October 7th tragedy. I call upon Izhar Shay to approach. Izhar Shay. זה נכון. So it says, in recognition of your significant contribution to society and Israeli economy, in appreciation of your outstanding achievement in the high-tech sector and the public service, and for your visionary leadership, serving as inspiration and role model for the Technion graduates.
I will still thank Honorable President of Israel, Mr. Yitzhak Herzog, and the First Lady, Michal. Honorable Technion President Professor Uri Sivan, Mr. Scott Master, Chairman of the Board of Governors, Mr. Yona Yahav, Mayor of Haifa, Mr. Leon Rekanati, Chairman of Madatech, General Nitsan Alon, with so many titles, I believe the most important is taking place these days. Thank you very much for your service for Israel. Please help us bring all of our brothers and sisters home. And congratulations for a very well-deserved award. Distinguished guests, faculty members, dear friends, I am excited to stand here today and express my heartfelt gratitude for the great privilege of receiving the Technion Alumni Medal. I walked through the gates of this distinguished institution until the year of 1990, which is when I graduated as an engineer in electrical engineering. Since its founding, the Technion has been much more than an academic institution. It was a house of inspiration, a source of groundbreaking innovation, and a beacon for Israeli entrepreneurship. Many of the technological innovations in protecting our country's security, those that continue to secure our future, were invented and developed within its walls by the Technion graduates. But not only in security. Many of the groundbreaking scientific and technological developments that have contributed significantly to the development of Israel's economy of innovation, they all began in the Technion's labs or on the drawing boards of those who earned their degrees here. As someone who is privileged to be a Technion graduate, I feel the need to express my gratitude to this institution, which is not only a home for engineers, scientists, and entrepreneurs, but also one of the supporting pillars for the State of Israel. Professor Sivan, you may remember that as a Minister of Science and Technology, I worked hard for academic freedom and to strengthen science and technology in Israel, understanding that these are amongst the core strengths of our national abilities. Therefore, I am particularly proud of the Technion's commitment to academic freedom, to its commitment to the fundamental values of the Declaration of Independence, and to the Israeli democracy. Thank you very much for all you are doing for Israel, Professor Sivan. And since October 7, the Technion has also shown its commitment to student reservists. You have done so much for them, and thank you for this as well, Professor Sivan, and everybody who's involved. Thank you very much. You have been involved in the ongoing national effort surrounding the October 7 war. I would like to point out that the Technion, in its own way, reflects the resilience, creativity, and optimism of the Israeli society. And perhaps this is why I'm so proud to be involved as a co-founder of the National Commemoration Initiative next October, established by my family in memory of my beloved son, Yaron Uri, a Nahal patrol fighter who fell in the heroic battle of defending Kerem Shalom. Next October, we connect innovative Israeli startups with families who lost their loved ones in this war, civilians and soldiers all together. In doing so, we ensure that not only we will carry the memory of the fallen and the murdered forever, but also that we will continue to maintain an innovative and prosperous economy here and continue to connect between innovation, entrepreneurship, and Israeli resilience. Please remember this. They came to destroy and eliminate everything we stand for. But we are here, and we're still working hard, and we will do this forever. We are creating a better world. They came to destroy. We are creating a better world. Dear friends, I was born in kibbutz Ein HaShlosha in Otef, Aza. My parents were amongst the first members of the kibbutz. My nanny at the kindergarten of kibbutz Ein HaShlosha was Pupe Kedem. And she always told me that she thought that she did a good job with me. The last time she said this to me was during one of the hostility rounds in Gaza when I visited the kibbutz as a member of the Knesset in 2020. We had tea with Pupe and Yuda Kedem, her husband, in their modest home. In the background, the sounds of cannons would be heard, and Pupe smiled at me and she said again, you know, in light of what you have achieved so far, all in all, I've done a pretty good job with you. And this is Professor Sivan. This was even before I was entitled to get this privileged honor tonight. That was in 2020. 3 years later, on October 7, 2023, my nanny Pupe's granddaughter was murdered by Hamas terrorists in kibbutz Nir Oz. Tamar Simantov Kedem, the granddaughter of Pupe Kedem, my nanny, was brutally murdered along with her husband Johnny and the 3 young children, Shachar, Arbel, and Omer. Not so far away from Nir Oz, when Tamar and her family were murdered, not so far from there in kibbutz Kerem Shalom, my beloved hero son Yaron, together with 2 other Nahal patrol soldiers, fought against many dozens of Hamas terrorists. They prevented them from entering the kibbutz, thus saving the lives of hundreds of civilians, including babies, children, parents, and the elderly. My dear son Yaron fell in this heroic battle, and in his honor, we established the Next October initiative. I am honored this evening to dedicate this medal to Pupe Kedem, who did a reasonable job with me overall, And to my parents, Tamar and Izhar Shay, members of the generation who dreamed and worked very hard for the establishment of our beloved state of Israel. I dedicate this medal this evening to my I dedicate this medal tonight to my hero son, Yaron Uri, and to my beloved family members, Hila, my wife for 38 years, and my children, Shir, Lior, and Ophir. Thank you, Ella and Shir, they are here. Thank you to the Technion for this journey of 35 years since I left your gates, for the opportunity to be part of a wonderful community of people who are changing the world, each and every one of them according to their own path and vision. I join the prayer of bringing all of our brothers and sisters back home as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shay. As you can see and feel, we really have some truly outstanding alumni, and we can applaud them all together. This concludes the formal part of this evening. Thank you all for joining and staying. Enjoy your dessert. Have a good night. See you all at the Technion.